Hi everyone. I wanted to jump in here again today. I wasn't planning on it, but I realized that I could really tie in what I spoke to this week earlier when I was talking about grief and digesting your grief and metabolizing your grief to yesterday's video about the map of consciousness and the vibrational emotional resonance, your resonance of emotion. So when I spoke earlier about grief, and according to the map of consciousness, grief is one of the lowest emotions, lowest vibrating emotions that is on the map of consciousness. It vibrates at the level of 75, and it is in the destructive zone. It is in the constricted zone. And listen, there's the whole thing now about toxic positivity, and especially now because, things are so serious around the world. And even for me as a single mom, like, things were always so heavy. Everything I did had a weight to it. As a single mom, you're always weighing out your options and if it's worth it for you to, get a babysitter and do certain things and spend that money. There's always a level of heaviness around that. There's certainly a weight. The stakes are a lot higher when I was a single mom. And so toxic positivity or being overly positive or overly, positive thinking all the time did not always work for me. It didn't. And that's why I really always caveat anything that I'm saying when it comes to manifestation and the law of attraction to that I'm not trying to diminish the pain and the hurt that you may be feeling now or at this time in general. I think as a whole, we're all going through a level of micro PTSD as it is. But I do want to give you a real life example of how I was able to move up my vibration during the darkest days of my life. And this is when I found out that my ex, I guess it was 14 years ago now, was cheating on me. And again, that was the second time I found out. So not only did I take him back the first time, I took him back the first time, and then I found out that he was doing it again, that he was not intending on being with me anyways. And this gave me such a level of shame. And if you remember the scale, I can actually post an image of it as well in the comments later on. But the level of shame is the lowest you can feel. And yet so many of us are carrying this. In my work now, I realize that so many of us are carrying some sort of level of shame. So I was at that level of deep shame. I was humiliated. I've already carried a lot of guilt, and then I was grieving this, this loss of a relationship, grieving the loss of my identity after I found out he was cheating on me. And what I did actually was I made a list, and I made a list of everything that she had, and I knew of her because she was actually in and out of his life, for a long time. I was basically the rebound girl while he was, waiting for her to get her stuff together for 2 years. And anyways, so I wrote a list of everything she had that I didn't. So all of her qualities that she had and everything that I didn't have. And I included everything from, height, looks, skin color, blue eyes, brown eyes, her not being a mother, her being younger than me. She was a different race than I was. So I wrote all of these things that, everything that I wrote, that everything that she had that I didn't have. And I looked at that list and I compared like the two of us, whatever, side by side. And I was like, what the heck, Ivy? Like, do you hate yourself? I looked at that list and I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you hate yourself? Why did you do this to yourself? Like, why would you do this? Why would you allow yourself to write down everything that you don't have? And I realized in that moment that I actually didn't love myself, that I didn't even know if I liked myself at that moment. And I was shocked to find that out, because I was, I took care of myself. I took care of my daughter. I was confident on the outside. I had friends, but I had this inner loathing of myself, and it came out. That realization of that came out when I wrote it, everything on this piece of paper. So when I did that, I sat with that paper for a while. I cried and I let it all go. I really allowed myself to release. And this is the part going back to Tuesday's video about releasing your grief, metabolizing, digesting your grief, not denying it, but really sitting with it. And I took that piece of paper and I tore it up in little tiny pieces, and I let it sink in the toilet, and I flushed it down the toilet. And in that moment, I realized, I had that profound realization that I needed to love and accept myself. So here I was, unknowingly moving up the map of consciousness, moving up my vibrations to the level of acceptance. And acceptance is above neutral. So even at neutral, and this is when I really took a deep dive into meditation and mindfulness as well. And I was in that neutral spot for a long time. Not a long time, but a week or so, just in neutrality, not really knowing what to do, just trying different things to get me out of this funk. I was doing all this, pulling out all the stops, feng shui and meditation and mindfulness and exercise. I've always been very much into working out anyways. But even before the level of neutrality is courage. It takes courage to look at your situation. Then it takes courage to accept it just as it is. And with acceptance, the emotion that comes with acceptance, according to that David Hawkins scale, is forgiveness. And then there's that point of forgiveness, and I knew I had to forgive myself for making all the decisions all the bad decisions that I had before, all the decisions of not trusting myself, of not feeling worthy enough, of allowing myself to stay in these situations, going against my intuition and my instinct. This is why I also train women on how to listen to your intuition, how to really trust yourself. It's another big thing. And when I slowly began to accept myself, that is when the gateway to love opened up. It was the gateway to self-love. And sure enough, love is on the next emotion, the next vibrational higher emotion than acceptance, reason, and love. And from that, I felt so much joy for my life. I felt so much gratitude for my life. And with that joy, I took that joy and I went back online, and I had the intention that, yes, I wanted to meet somebody. I wanted that healthy relationship that was so elusive to me before, but I was just going to date, go online, meet people, and have so much fun and joy. And that I did. And that whole process was about 6 weeks. And sure enough, I met my husband, and it's been 14 years now, 13, 14 years. So that is the process that I went through. So again, sit with whatever it is that you're going through right now, but do release it, do let it go, do let it shed from your being, whether it's through movement or journaling. Rip it up, burn it, soak it, flush it down the toilet, whatever it is, but release it from your body. And I hope and pray that you come to this level of acceptance. And of course, it's a journey. It's our brains don't want to change. It's too hard. It's too hard for our brains to learn new things and to learn new ways of being. And this is why it's not easy. This is why it's a habit. That's why the habit industry is, $1 billion. The habit changing industry is $1 billion industry, because it is not easy to do. And this is why I really, I do what I do. This is why I hope that you're open to coaching and training or therapy, or something, because it is not always easy to do it on your own. It took me 37 years to get to where I was back then, and I'm here to make it shorter for you, sooner for you, more graceful, more easier for you, if you let me. So yeah, if you are interested in finding out more about my program as well, do feel free to contact me. I know this week I've been pushing it out a lot, because I'm starting in June the 6th, we're starting. So I'm opening up my schedule to take as many phone calls and as many inquiries about that as possible. And I know that even just speaking with me one-on-one and getting to know your situation and your circumstance, you'll have a breakthrough, you'll have an understanding and a level of acceptance just by having one conversation with me. But yeah, my program starts on June the 6th. The pre-work starts on June the 6th, halfway through the year. And I'm not sure if I'm going to open it up again in the summertime. If anything, I might do it in the fall. Who knows where life takes us. But I'm really hoping to have a great cohort going into the summer months, and ending. We'll be finished, if we start in June, we'll be finished at the end of July, right on time to enjoy the rest of the summer. It's 10 weeks long, actually. So it's just a perfect time to have that community of women, have that transformational time. It's summer, it's the yang energy, it's the masculine energy. It's time to get out there, time to really make that change and transformation. So definitely reach out to me. I hope this helped you. And the funny thing is that these emotions are actually very similar to the grief stages that I had mentioned on Tuesday's video, Kubler-Ross's model, which is denial, acceptance, depression, anger. All of those emotions are also in the stages of grief, and allowing yourself to move up to it and finally, and keep returning to acceptance, returning to that self-acceptance, returning to accepting to how things is. It brings you forgiveness, it brings you peace, and then thereby giving you love, and thereby reaching for the next level, which is joy. And this is when you can really be the co-creator of your reality, where you can really start manifesting things. And this is not just about positive thinking. It's a real visceral feeling, deep inner work that I hope you'll allow me and come with me along with on this journey. So thank you. I hope to talk to you soon, and have a great weekend. Bye for now.